This is my project, Physical Wellbeing, my senior project. I just want to start off with a nice thought from Thomas Jefferson. Leave all the afternoon for exercise and recreation, which are as necessary as reading. I definitely agree with this, obviously. Now, this is just a bit of my journey through thinking out my senior project and thinking what I was going to do. Mrs. Elder asked us to think of our passions. My passion is fitness, and I value and enjoy keeping in good physical condition, and I believe that when people are in good physical condition, they have more opportunities. I enjoy running and participating in sports, and sports are a good way to grow as a person, whether you participate on a team or individually. It takes a great amount of discipline and a desire to do well in the sport. And I also really like the challenge of always trying to get better. My mentor began as my dad, and still is, but I also would consider Dustin Sylvester, who is a personal trainer at Genesis, and who I shadowed, and Angie Dwarf, who I helped teach homeschool PE with, to be my mentors as well. And then journaling, I'll show you. This is my journal. I try to journal as often as possible, and I pick things and try to put them all in and try to fit it all together, so that's that. Then for my ancients, I read this from this guy, Leon Cass, What is Health, and you'll find a lot of my information from him. And I also looked at the Olympics. That seemed pretty obvious to look towards. And I chose a modern guy to help represent my project named Jack LaLanne. And then my lesson is coming. Just wait. Here's more of my senior project. As I was saying, I just don't believe you can teach passion, so it was pretty obvious for me to just choose fitness for my project, for my passion. I believe that everyone has their own passions, and that you can help people realize that they have a passion, and you can help them develop, you can work really hard to try to make them be as passionate about something as you are, but you just can't. I learned that this year. So it was just obvious for me to choose this. Then throughout the year, I began looking through this Topicon at the great ideas to see which best correlates with physical well-being. And I also began Becca Fitness on Wednesdays, took over BJ Fitness. I had 1 hour with the boys and 1 hour with the girls, middle school. Yeah. Then I got to also help Angie Dwarf with homeschool PE, which was tons of fun. I really enjoyed that, and I'm glad I got that chance. And then I also got to shadow a personal trainer at Genesis for 1 hour in the morning, some mornings. And then all of this, I was reading Leon Cass and about the Olympics and excerpts from Aristotle. My mentor, my dad. I began basketball in the first grade with my dad fearlessly leading 10 5-year-old girls. Next year, I have the opportunity to play basketball at college. Play college basketball, thanks to my dad. He taught me basketball. Also through basketball, he's taught me to be patient, respectful, disciplined, and determined. Patient in struggling with new concepts, respectful while learning new things, disciplined to stay on track towards my goal, determined to do anything I set my mind to. So this is my 12th year playing basketball this year, and this is the 12th year my dad has coached me in basketball. He's always been my mentor, and from him I've developed my love for running and basketball and fitness. After Wednesday fitness class, I'd always go talk to my dad for help and advice. He also has let me he's also let me help coach my little brother's MAYB team, Mid-American Youth Basketball, that's what that means. And pretty much that's him, BT Dubs. Jumping. Whoa. Yeah. And obviously that's cute up there. Becca Fitness. Alright, I have a little video for you. To start it off. And at the beginning, the background music is James Atherton playing the piano. And then you're also going to see some weird, you're going to think girls are doing something really weird. They made up handshakes, and I'll talk about that later. Yeah. Here's the video.
When she's done, please. Thanks. I'm going to start off where I started off. Tough teaching.
was a lot harder than I expected it to be, and I now have a greater respect for those that do teach. Because I began Becca Fitness thinking, this will be easy. I just tell them what to do and they go do that, what I say happily. No, that's not true. And especially with the boys. I had Lucas and Miles, I don't know about that, at the beginning of the year to help me out, get started. And it started off day one. This is when I realized it's going to be hard, day one. I thought I had a good plan. We were going to walk the Santa Fe Trail loop, and then we were going to play, I had games planned out for them. Well, my plan was to stick together and to walk together on the loop. That didn't work because some people wanted to run, some people didn't want to do this, and some people were really competitive and thought this was a race. And so that was really hard. And when I got back at the end of it, some boys were inside and some were over there and running, and I just had to get them all back together. The girls were a little nicer. We all finished at different times, but they were sitting on the curb when I came around. I was like, this is perfect. Anyway, so let's see. Yeah. Moving on, the monthly mile. Dun, dun, dun. We got to run outside. Let's see. Okay. I have a nice picture. This is our Santa Fe Trail loop. So we go down Santa Fe Trail Road, right on 32nd Street. The road bends to St. Francis, and then walk on the grass. We'll come back on the grass to Santa Fe Road. 2 of those was a mile. It's actually 1.25 miles, I found out, but that's what I had them run outside for a mile. Inside, 20 laps around the gym was a mile. So that was a little daunting, I guess, to say the least. That the first Wednesday of every month we ran a mile to measure improvement. And most kids improved. It was really cool. Then we played games, and some of the games were good, some of the games were bad, and some of the games people got hurt in. Scared me. No, but we played, capture the beanbag, tags, different kinds of tags, that's what I meant. And ultimate football. And then the handshakes. Okay, so we were getting ready to start Becca Fitness one Wednesday, and Mrs. Elder saw Lori and Caroline doing a handshake, and she said, you need to have all the girls learn this, because this is really awesome. So I got an idea that I was like, girls, just pair up and create your own handshake. And that's what you saw in the video, and I thought they were pretty good. And that's the Santa Fe Trail walk. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, Santa Fe Trail was a road for people to travel on with their team of horses and wagons in the 1820s. It was a great adventure to travel on this trail. Do we have enough food? Will we find enough water? Who's out there? For a while, Council Grove was the only trading post on the trail. They would use this trail to see the West and trade goods. William Becknell is the father of the Santa Fe Trail because he was the first to follow this route. After a while, many different trade posts were established. After the trail had been established for several years, the trail became a busy road of commerce. This helped the population in Kansas to grow to 16 times what it was. Although the Santa Fe Trail didn't directly run near or through Wichita, we benefited from the growth of population. Homeschool PE. So every Monday during 5th hour, I would help Angie do work with homeschool PE. And she definitely had a tough task on her hands because there were different kids. We usually had 7 kids, ranging from ages 11, Cassie, to 5, Darius. Cassie, Alexander, Grace, Annabelle, Sonia, Audrey, and Darius. And so each game had to be, the rules might have to be changed for the kids. Like Cassie and Alexander during knockout might have to shoot from the free throw line. Well, Darius gets to take 5 steps in and shoot from there. That looks unfair, but it's really not. So that was hard. That's one thing I learned. Also, so we started off 5. This is what our routine was. We'd run 5 laps, and some kids needed a little bit more motivation. Like Audrey, she would always do her best. She would always just stay on track. But Darius ran a little faster when someone was about to pass him. So I would try to motivate them a little bit more. Then we would stretch. And so each person would pick 2 stretches. and he'd go around and hold it for 10 counts. And then we might do push-ups and sit-ups in that circle, so 10 push-ups and 10 sit-ups. And these had to be modified a little bit because the kids are so young. But for the older kids, they didn't have to be. Then we added in jumping jacks later on. And it wasn't so much having the energy to do the jumping jacks, it was getting the rhythm down. It was hard. So we made up soldier, triangle, soldier, triangle. And I think that's what we'd have to do with them because they could do it, they had the energy, but they just couldn't get the rhythm down. And that leads into the games. Some games would be so simple, they'd just be catching games because that's what they needed. They needed to work on coordination. But we played knockout and run relays and stuff like that. My favorite game was beanbags and bottles. We had two sides, and there'd be bottles, bowling pins, those are bottles, on each side, and then you have beanbags, and you try to throw it across and hit the other team's feet. You slide it across, not throw at them. And if you got hit in the foot, you were out. But if one of your teammates hit a bottle down on the other side, you got back in. It was just really fun. Okay, this is shadowing personal trainers at Genesis. So my stepmom, my mom and my stepdad got a membership at Genesis, and they got to work out with a personal trainer. And so I was like, maybe that would be really good for my project. And so I got in touch with Dustin, personal trainer at Genesis, and I followed. He told me about, the first time we met, he told me about himself, and I kind of was asking, what does it take to be a personal trainer? Why are you a personal trainer? And he just said that he used to play sports, but he was really competitive, and he hated losing more than he loved winning, and so he quit. And then he, when he was, after high school, he joined the Army, and that's where his love for fitness came out, and I could tell because he really liked push-ups. Yeah, so that was that. And he said to be a good personal trainer, you have to be a people person. You have to really want to help people. So I shadowed Dustin with Jill. Jill is a 55-year-old woman who is incredibly competitive. She was a fiery little, anything Dustin had to do, she would just go do it, and she would do it her hardest, her best, put her best effort in. And then Eric, who was a former baseball player, just wanted to kind of lose weight and stay in shape. And then Shelly had previously lost a bunch of weight, and so she was trying to, lose more and maintain. She kind of complained a lot because she just didn't see her full potential. She just didn't see the goal over there. But I was proud of what she'd already done. I also shadowed Kristen, who's another personal trainer at Genesis. She was on the KU rowing team and majored in pre-physical therapy. And her client was Beth, and Beth just wanted to maintain again, gain a little bit of muscle and maintain. Then I also got to sit through a personal fitness assessment. So this means that Dustin is getting a new client, and he needs to see what the new client needs. And so he went through a bunch of questions and a little, it's called a screen test. He just had him do a couple squats or something like that. And then it was really neat because Dustin's you see how your left foot turns in a little bit, and it was really observant. And I also had a question day with Dustin, and I asked him tons of questions that I had, what in the world of mountain climb, what mountain climbers help, static stretching versus non-static stretching, what's the purpose of a warm-up, all those kinds of things. Overall, it was pretty great. Okay, what is help? This is a really large question I really wanted to avoid because I knew it was a really hard question, but I couldn't, obviously. I kept running into it, but then I realized the more I was reading about it, the more interesting it was, and so I couldn't really quit. I'm going to tell you a story first, though. In January 2001, my grandpa had a heart attack. One Saturday, he went to Stillwater, Oklahoma, to the land that he has, and he was working. This isn't unusual for him to do this, but this day he was hammering some sheet metal, so not super easy work, especially he's not young. He's 73 at the time. He started to feel bad before he left Oklahoma, and after about a 2-hour drive home, he he arrived home. Then when at home, his pain kept going, and my grandpa has a really, really high pain tolerance, and even if he's in pain, he's not going to say anything. But that night he told my grandma that he was having really bad back pain. So in the morning, they went to the hospital. The doctors began running tests, and then during all this time while they were running tests, my grandpa had a cheeseburger and pop, He seemed that he was uncomfortable, but it didn't seem that he was in a whole lot of pain. So the day progressed, and the doctor came back with the test results, and something was really wrong, so they needed to see what's going on. So they did a test, they did a minor surgery to see what was flowing, what was not flowing with his heart. And after about 10 minutes, the doctor said that he had had a massive heart attack, and he had a widowmaker, which is the worst kind. A widowmaker attacks the left part of the heart, which is the biggest. So the passageways in a heart attack, passageways close down, and you're just not getting oxygen and nutrients to the heart. So my grandpa was getting about 30% blood flow to his body, and so he asked the doctor if there's anything he could do, and the doctor said, we can't do surgery on a heart that just isn't there. So this is how severe it was. So the doctor said, you need to prepare to go say goodbye to him. So the family prepared to stay the whole night, and the doctor put him in the intensive care unit. And nobody really expected him to be alive in the morning. But when the morning came, he was still alive. And he seemed normal, and because he was breathing and talking to the family. And throughout, later that afternoon, my family asked the doctor, what's going on? You told us this is supposed to happen, and it didn't happen, so what's happening? And he said, well, once in a while, if a person lives long enough while this is going on, new passageways to the heart can be created. So his body healed itself, and that's a miracle. And so my grandpa was released 3 days after his heart attack, and then he went then afterwards he had to go to a heart doctor just to make sure that everything was working all right. And after 2 months of that, he had 90% production, so he was released. So that's my grandpa, by the way. He's back there too. Sorry, Grandpa. So this is just really neat because Leon Cass he was like, it's not really possible to say what help with divine help, more than it's possible to say only and precisely what livingness or light or knowledge or human excellence is. The word health comes from, it's Old German, I think, and it's H-E-I-L, which means wholeness or to make complete. And Leon Cass said maybe the best evidence for this is that the remarkable power of self-healing. And that just so closely corresponded with my grandpa's story, and I just thought that was amazing. So that's definitely what health means to me now, is wholeness. And to heal means to make up the whole and to create the whole. Leon Cass said that each organism comes to be not at random but in an orderly manner. It develops and goes through stages to reach a limit. The adult which emerges is no mere outcome but a completion and aimed a whole. This Leon Cass, I wanted to put him up here because he was amazing. He's not running for governor or anything like that. He wrote, those books right here.
Yeah.
These are the modern day great books, and that's where I pulled his essay out of his essay is called What is Health? I just found so much information from him, so I decided to give him credit. Okay, so I was searching through the great ideas, which one's going to work with my project. Nothing said health, nothing said well-being, nothing said wellness. What was I going to do? But I found duty. And to me, this is perfect because I believe that everyone has a duty to maintain their health. God gave you with a body, and it's a blessing. I mean, not everyone is fortunate like that, and it's not right to sabotage a blessing. This is a quote by Leon Cass. For us human beings, however, even a healthy nature must be nurtured and maintained by effort and discipline if it is not to become soft and weak and prone to illness, and certain excesses and stresses must be avoided if this softness is not to spawn over unhealth and disease. So, I also found some awesome, these are just quotes from Leon Cassigan. I picked duty before I even read this. Health is a duty that one has an obligation to preserve one's own health. And to make health someone else's duty, to impose a duty impossible to fill. So I just think that's really important, that you are obligated to maintain your body. Maintain your health, sorry. And then habit. This is, I think, the seniors' motto for last year, graduation. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act but a habit. That's by Aristotle. So exercise has to become a habit. To be healthy has to become a habit. It's not going to be easy to make anything a habit at first, but once you make it a habit, it's a habit. So then you'll maintain it very easily. Maintain. This is pretty obvious. These are Leon Cassigan. I told you I liked him. It just takes a lot of effort to maintain health. It's not easy to do it. But this is really cool. Aristotle thought this as well, and Socrates did. But he talked about how the soul and the body are one, and to try to cure one soul without the body, or vice versa, you can't do that. That's not right. And I think that's really interesting and really pretty much true, because it's a mindset. To be fit is a mindset. Okay, this is another interesting thing that I found from that essay. Dean Lester Breslow and his colleagues at the UCLA School of Public Health conducted some interesting research. They discovered 7 rules for good health, which correlate with healthiness and longevity. 1, don't smoke cigarettes, get 7 hours of sleep, eat breakfast, keep your weight down, drink moderately, exercise daily, and don't eat between meals. Well, they found that people who follow all the rules are healthier than those who follow 6, and those who follow 6 are more healthy than those who follow 5, and so on. The physical health status of those over 75 who followed all the rules was about the same as those aged 35 to 44 who followed fewer than 3. And a person who follows at least 6 of the 7 rules has an 11-year longer life expectancy at age 45 than someone who has followed less than 4. So that is just really neat. Okay, this is another ancient, the Olympics. At Northfield, we looked to the origin of things, so it was pretty obvious for me to look to the Olympics for my project. The Greeks ate protein-rich foods, and so that could help them give them energy. They ate a lot of fish. For special occasions, they would eat sheep, goat, cattle, or pig. And they also invented athletic contests and held them in honor of their gods. And the most famous were the ones held at Olympia. They took place every 4 years in ancient Greece, and they were later revived by a French nobleman named Pierre. I'll stop there. Pierre. The games of the... Okay, so the Olympic Games. They began in the early 700 BC. No women were allowed, and only people who spoke Greek could participate, and they included athletes from various Greek city-states. They were held in Olympia, which was a sanctuary site for the Greek gods. Before the games, everyone participating had to take an oath in front of the statue of Zeus, saying that you had been in training for 10 months. The first day was completely devoted to a festival of sacrifices to their gods. The second day took place in the stadium, and there were different types of foot races. The first and second were a sprint for the 1 length of the stadium, and then the second was 2 lengths of the stadium. And then the third race was a long distance race. And the fourth race was 2 to 4 stages long, but the participants wore full armor to practice for battle. There was also wrestling and boxing and horse racing. Usually for horse racing, there were 6 laps around the stadium. Chariot races had teams of 2 horses and teams of 4 horses. And also, it was not the rider, but the owner of the horses of the chariot team who was considered the competitor. So it was possible for one person to get rewarded more than one of the top spots. There was also the pentathlon, which consisted of 5 different things. The 5 parts were sprinting, long jumping, javelin hurling, discus throwing, and wrestling. Greeks considered the rhythm and precision of an athlete as important as his strength. Yeah, that's really great. The winner of an event was rewarded an olive branch, and he was often rewarded with large sums of money, and sculptors would create statues of Olympic victors, and poets would write poems about them. The games were one of the 2 central rituals in ancient Greece. So I mentioned Pierre de Freddy earlier because he was the founder of the modern Olympic movement. Growing up, he had a passionate belief that sports possess the power to benefit humankind and encourage peace among the nations of the world. His vision turned into reality when in 1896, the first modern Olympic Games were held in Athens, Greece. An Olympiad is 4 years, and so the Summer Olympics are called the Games of the Olympiad. All right. Benefits of exercise. Doesn't have me look up benefits of exercise before I started, just so I had a background of what I was in the world I was doing. Exercise improves your mood. Physical activity can stimulate various brain chemicals such as endorphins, and they may leave you feeling happier and more relaxed than you were before you worked out. You'll also look better, and so you'll feel better about yourself when you exercise regularly. That can boost your confidence and improves your self-esteem. And regular physical activity can also help depression, too. Exercise combats chronic diseases. It can help prevent heart disease, osteoporosis, and diabetes. It can also help you prevent or manage your high blood pressure. Exercise can help manage your weight. This is kind of a no-brainer. The more activity you do, the more calories you burn. The more calories you burn, the more weight you lose, or it's easier to keep your weight under control. And this doesn't have to be a big change if you want to start doing this. Like, just park further away from the store doors, or take the stairs instead of the elevator. Little simple things. Exercise also promotes better sleep. It might help you boost your physical activity during the day, and a good night's sleep can improve your concentration, productivity, and mood. But physical activity is sometimes the key to better sleep. Regular physical activity can help you fall asleep faster and deepen your sleep. But if you exercise too close to bedtime, you'll be too energized. There you go. Energized, and you won't be able to fall asleep, so that's bad. Jack. Okay, I included him because he's a really good modern day example of fitness, and he started doing this when this was unpopular. He's also known as the godfather of fitness. He was born on September 26, 1914 in San Francisco, California. As a kid, this is him talking. As a kid, I was a sugarholic and a junk food junkie. It made me weak and it made me mean. It made me so sick I had boils, pimples, and suffered from nearsightedness. Little girls used to beat me up. My mom prayed. The church prayed. When he was 15 years old, he heard Paul Bragg speak at a fair, and Lane finally realized that he was addicted to sugar. He admitted it. Step number 1. So he promised he would exercise and eat a proper diet, and he could regain his health. So Jack listened attentively and was fiercely determined to walk away from the lecture ready to build a totally new Jack LaLanne. So he started going to the Berkeley YMCA and using weights and experimenting with the weights. And before long, he was able to attain the muscular, healthy body of his dreams. Jack said, quote, "I became a voracious reader, and I absorbed everything that would help me to improve myself. During college, I studied pre-med to become a medical doctor, and I also went to chiropractic college and graduated. However, I was more interested in helping people by convincing them to take preventative measures before they became ill." End quote. So he opened the first modern-day fitness studio in 1936, and then he also got on TV. I'm sure some of you might remember him. He said, quote, "The doctors were against me. They said working out with weights would give people heart attacks. Women would look like men, and even varsity coaches predicted their athletes would get muscle bound and banned them from lifting weights. I had to give the athletes keys so they could come in at night and work out in the gym. Time has proven that what I was doing was scientifically correct. Starting with a healthy diet, followed by systematic exercise, and today everyone knows it. And then all the world-class athletes work out with weights. End quote. Over time, he began to formulate a basic approach to physical fitness and nutrition. His methods would be scientifically sound, and as he developed the first prototypes of exercise equipment presently available in contemporary health spas. His inventions were the leg extension. Thank you. Yeah, the leg extension. So that's the bottom one, where you just sit and leave your legs, and there's weight, obviously, and then the pulley machine. He said, quote, there are 640 muscles in the human body, and I take every one of them into account as I plan each exercise routine. So his reputation began to explode, and everyone in fitness knew Jack LaLanne. I'm just going to give you some of his amazing accomplishments. When he was 40 years old, he swam the length of the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge underwater with 140 pounds of equipment, including 2 air tanks. An undisputed world record. At age 42, he set a world record of 1,033 push-ups in 23 minutes. At age 45, he completed 1,000 push-ups and 1,000 chin-ups in 1 hour and 22 minutes. At age 62, he swam 1 mile in Long Beach Harbor, handcuffed, shackled, and swam 13 boats representing the 13 colonies, containing 76 people. At age 65, he towed 65 boats with 6,500 pounds of Louisiana Pacific wood pulp while handcuffed and shackled. Just throw that in there. Why not? At age 70, handcuffed, shackled, and fighting strong winds and currents, he towed 70 boats with 70 people from 1.5 miles. So you don't look like that. Yeah, that's how you. Just amazing. So now what? I learned all this information, but what for? I'm going to Tabor College next year, where I will play basketball, and I plan on majoring in health and physical education with a concentration on strength and conditioning. I then hope to be certified as a personal trainer, and then I want to help people stay fit, basically. I want to have as many opportunities as I can. A wise man should consider that health is the greatest of human blessings.